All right, you guys. Hello, hello, and happy Thursday. Y'all, we are almost into February of 2022. Like I said that the other night, and I just can't really wrap my head around that because it's insane to me that we are already almost an entire month through a new year. So you may find yourself wanting to really work towards some new goals. Maybe you need to kind of step up your game, or you're excited to step up your game a little bit and try something new. And maybe that's why you're here on this call. And maybe you're just curious and you've been watching, you're like, I see these girls like doing their thing and they seem really happy and they're doing really well in life. And I want some of that. And so we are so excited to share pieces of our story with you tonight because we absolutely want you to know that you can achieve that. You can create more happiness in your life. You can live that life of joy and freedom and excitement and life, right? Not just going through the motions every day, but really living life intentionally and full of joy and excitement and laughter. And I know that sometimes we can watch people on social media and they seem like they've got it all figured out and it just came easy for them and they didn't have any struggles and life just looks so perfect. One, if you know us, we do try to be very authentic and let you know that life is far from perfect. Yes, we do try to really keep an upbeat attitude and feel good most of the time, but we have bad days. Yeah. And we have times that we struggle too. So we want you to know that we see you and we understand if you're in a hard place right now and you're looking forward. That's what tonight is all about, is looking forward and creating the life that we want to live. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Corey Mayo. I am the founder and mama bear of Team Living Healthy and Fit. I have been on this journey for 10 years, you guys. Okay, 10 years. It did not happen overnight. I did not start where I am right now. I mean, like, not even physically. We didn't live in this house when I started. Okay. So, oh no, I hope I am not frozen because you guys are frozen. So I think that means I'm probably frozen. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to keep going and roll with it and hope that I pop back in. Okay, so we're still going. Okay, good. I was afraid I was going to drop you guys. Okay, so I did not start where I am today. I started 10 years ago in a really unhappy place, in a place that I felt really stuck. I had always wanted to achieve big things in life, but I didn't really know if that was for me. I didn't know what that looked like. And I was really unsure that I would be able to do that because I didn't have a very good mindset. Okay. So a lot has happened in the last 10 years. It wasn't a perfect journey. It still isn't perfect to this day. There have been a lot of ups and downs. It didn't happen as fast as I thought that it would, but it happened at the pace that was right for me and met me where I was. It allowed me to learn and grow through many different seasons of life. I started this journey as a mom of one little boy who really just needed to feel good in her skin again, who needed to find who she was. I didn't have a big dream of growing this team and creating financial freedom and this big life of abundance when I started. I really just wanted to be able to put on some freaking clothes and feel confident in my own skin. I wanted to have energy to keep up with my 18-month-old son. I wanted to feel happy. So as I started to work on those things through Beachbody and through my nutrition and my fitness and starting to dive into a little bit of personal development, and really just being surrounded by a community of people who did dream, who did look at the positive things in life even when life was hard, they were really focusing on the good in life. And so I started to surround myself with more people like that. And it opened up so much more for me. What started as just selfishly, really, for me to be healthier, to be happier, to have more energy, to have more excitement in life, started to turn into, okay, I'm starting to feel really, really good. And I absolutely love this community of women. How many of y'all have had those friends that the second you get up from the table, they're talking about you? And not in a loving way, because if my girls on my screen, we might talk about you when you get up and walk away from the table, but it's usually something funny, or it's because we're so fucking proud of each other and we're lifting each other up. But how many times, because I know I sure did, would get up and walk away from the table and I know that they were talking shit about me. Or you walk into the room and everybody stops and looks. I still have people who I thought were my friends that do that to this day. They are no longer friends. Because friends don't do that, you guys. Friends will love you and uplift you and empower you and dream with you, be excited for you when you go after new things. Okay. And that's what this community brought. And it was a whole new world. I was like, whoa, this is really weird. I don't know what to do with this. I don't like, girls are nice. Girls are like kind, and they'll like really be your friend. Like I didn't know what that life was like. And so as I really got to know some of these amazing women who were inspiring and empowering and showing up for me just as much as I was for them in a challenge group, I was like, I need more of this. I need more of this. And I want my people with me, right? I want my friends with me. So the vision of just being a mom who wanted to create time for herself started to kind of grow into a mom who was growing some confidence, who was seeing some change, who was feeling more joy and excitement for life, who then started to pay it forward to her friends, because I could see my friends who were struggling just like I was that day that I sat on the couch and watched Keyston play with his toys. And I thought to myself, there's more. I deserve more. He deserves more. We as a family deserve more than this. And so we started to grow a team. We started to link arms with good friends and family and share that life isn't just to go through the motions, that life is so much more about living authentically, being true to who you are, being excited for your goals, and to live life without apology. So as that team started to grow, y'all started to show up, and our challenge group started to grow, and amazing moms all over the country, and some in Canada too, were linking arms with us. And they were starting to see results. And you guys, for me at this point, seeing everybody blossom and come into their own truth, that is the big picture for me. That is my ultimate goal. I want to see as many moms and women feel empowered and strong and happy and confident in their skin and excited for life, because we give so much of ourselves to everyone else that we're often the last one we give any attention to. But in reality, we can give so much more to those around us when we pour into ourselves first. If you've ever listened to Rachel Hollis, she uses an example of a vase. If you have a vase and it's kind of leaning because it's unstable and it's, you know, kind of being rocked back and forth side to side, which is how as a mom we can often feel because we're being pulled in so many directions. If you try to fill that vase, it'll fill to a certain point, but then what happens? It just keeps pouring out, right? It never really fills up to be complete. But if a vase is standing on solid ground and it's upright and it has a strong foundation, and you start to fill that vase with water, what happens? It'll fill all the way to the top and complete and just overflow into everything else around you, right? So that is the mission of Team Living Healthy and Fit and Beachbody in general. And you guys, I try to think of how I could say this because I love Beachbody. I bleed blue, obviously. I've been in this industry for 10 freaking years. I believe in our mission. I believe in our CEO. I believe in what we stand purpose for and what we fight for in this world. But when you hear the name Beachbody, it's kind of like, you know, I don't have a Beachbody. I haven't hit my goal weight yet. And all of those hesitations start flooding your brain, right? You guys, it's about community. It's about leading your best life with health and happiness. It's not about having six-pack abs or the tightest butt on the beach or a size 0. It's about learning to stand in your truth, be the best version of you, and create your best happiness. And I will, till the day I die, stand behind that mission because we need more of that in our world, right? So the whole point of tonight is to share a little bit of our story. You guys, there's not enough time tonight for us to talk about the whole journey over the last 10 years. But I hope that you can see that through our stories on social media, through our posts, if you're in our challenge groups, that you feel our heart and our purpose, our passion to help every single one of you and every single other woman that comes up to us or comes in contact with us, that you guys feel seen, that you feel heard, that you know that no matter how hard life gets and how unsure that you might be, that you always have a community that will have your back and that will be there for you. Okay? That's all I have. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to pass it to Katie.
I struggled to find the mute button for a second. So my name is Katie Sullivan. If you don't know me, though I recognize most everybody's face on here. So, and I joined Beachbody just in general, just signed up with this girl that I knew from college in July of 2018. But for real, I didn't really start Beachbody until July of 2019 because I pretty much just didn't do anything for a whole year and kind of just like ghosted her and like checked out and all that stuff. So, when I started, I had just had my daughter in January of 2018. So I was going through that whole, her birthday is actually tomorrow. She's going to be 4, and that's crazy. But going through the whole new mom thing and all of that stuff, that was just so incredibly hard. And I was really just in a lost place, overwhelmed with life. I had quit my job after having her, and like kind of didn't really know what was gonna happen in my future. I joined Beachbody because I just wanted to lose weight, and I did. I lost 50 pounds, which was awesome. But, I was I got connected into the wellness group, and it was really amazing. And I followed all these great coaches and their stories. And, I had my amazing coach, Caitlin, who was, kind of just always, whispering in my ear, oh, you could do this too. And I was, yeah. I think my biggest fear looking back now, which is, it's kind of interesting when I look back and think about it. I feel like my biggest fear was that I was afraid of having to have a voice. However, at the same time, I also feel like that was something that I have deeply desired and yearned for my entire life as well. Um, Not ever feeling like I had a voice, and that I was never like, my sole goal was always to blend in. Like, I was a chameleon. I could blend in anywhere. And that was like my superpower. Um, and as I've gotten, older, and been around people that actually encourage you to have a voice and believe in your voice, I was like, man, I really want that, but also I'm really freaking terrified of that at the same time. Um, and so I finally, in November of 2020, I finally decided that I was gonna give this a shot after contemplating it for a very long time. I don't know how many of these calls I was on, how many times I would say to Caitlin, "Can you just tell me about that coaching thing? Just one more time. Just tell me about it one more time." And then I finally jumped in. And my goal when I jumped in was literally, I just wanted to help one person feel better the way that I felt better. Like, in that year from 2019 to 2020 of taking care of myself and getting healthier and being comfortable in my own skin for the first time in my life, I just wanted to help one person feel that way. And that was literally my goal. That was as big as my vision and my dream was. I didn't know where this was going to take me. Um, and I didn't really have anything beyond that. Other than, this seems like a really great team, and I just want to hang out with these people more and be like them. And so, I didn't realize how much of a journey, how much of this was going to lead me down this path of self discovery that it has in the last, 14 months that I've been coaching. Um, so, gotta rewind a little bit, and throw and go back to 2012. In 2012, I had genetic testing done, specifically to test for a genetic disease that runs in my family, which is Huntington's disease. And I tested positive for the Huntington's disease gene. And it's a neurological disorder that typically, on average, affects people. People start having symptoms in their 40s to 60s, depending on family lines and things, and lots of other factors. But which is kind of like the prime of a lot of people's lives, right? Um, I grew up knowing that it was a possibility, and that was part of the reason that I got tested. Um, and at some point between 2012 and 2018, yeah, 2018, I gradually kind of just got to the point where I was just in a space of kind of just waiting. I was kind of just stalled out in my life. I wasn't going anywhere in any career. I had been in multiple careers and I was good at all of them, but I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't moving up. I wasn't pushing myself. There was no growth. I was just kind of stuck. I wasn't looking forward. I couldn't tell you what my goals or my dreams were for 10, 20 years down the line, much less 5 or 2 years down the line, because I had just gotten myself in this place of just being stuck, and not looking forward, because I had put this clock on myself where, okay, you've got this thing and it's going to kick in sometime around this age, and therefore you don't get to have that. Which is really kind of ironic when I look back and think about it, because one of the biggest reasons that I got tested was to be able to plan ahead and, plan my life better and dream and do those things and all of that. And I didn't do it. And so being stuck, and I got low, I got really low. And I just kind of, there was no forward motion whatsoever. So enter 2018, had a baby, that turned everything upside down, like a lot of it does. And then enter Beachbody and this community and these women and this team. And I was all of a sudden surrounded by people that were believing in me when I didn't believe in me. I didn't think that I could lose 50 pounds. Like I could say that I wanted to lose 50 pounds, but I didn't for a second believe that I could actually lose 50 pounds. But Caitlin did, and Corey did, and the rest of those women did. And it snowballs when those people believe that you can do one thing and then they start to believe that you can do another thing, you start to believe it too. Um, and so it really did snowball for me. You know, I got physically healthier. I started to get mentally healthier. I started to unpack a lot of the shit that I had put in, you know, the back corner of the closet to not ever deal with. And I started to unpack it. And it was because I had these women telling me that they believed that I could do all of these amazing things. And they were dreaming for me. Why couldn't I dream for me? If they could dream for me, why couldn't I? And so, just through all of this, I started finding a voice. And I started actually thinking about, you know, it doesn't matter what, you know, we never know, obviously, we never know what's going to happen in life. And I started to take that pressure, I think, of that time clock that I had put on myself. And I started to get rid of it. And instead of just thinking about, you know, the negative and all the things that were potentially going to come for me, I started thinking about what can I do in the time that I do have? How can I use this? How can I use the fact that I know what I know for good and for helping people? And I shared my story on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram and social media back in May. And I actually looked tonight. I hadn't looked at the video in a while, and it got 582 views on YouTube. Which I don't know anything about YouTube views, but that feels like a lot to me. um, so I've connected with people, other people with Huntington's disease, that have seen my video, and that's the only reason that we've connected. And it has helped them. I actually, this week am looking into getting into a study for research so that I can start using what I know for good. Um, and finding my voice with it all. And that's something that's just really, you know, I'm starting to, I don't know all of my purpose yet, and I don't know all of my dreams yet, but you know, I got this planner this year, this Clever Fox planner, which I really love. And it has these, where do you want to be in 1 year and 5 years and 10 years and 20 years? And you guys, if you were at, the summit thing in July when we got together, I had like a breakdown because I couldn't talk about like 5 years down the road. And now I'm filling out my planner with goals for 10 and 20 years down the road. And there are things like write a book and become CFO. Like, you know, I'm thinking about things that, well, you know, I'm letting myself dream wild dreams for the first time ever. Whether or not they happen, you know, that's irrelevant. It's the fact that I'm finally able to start to look towards the future and start to figure out my purpose and figure out what makes me feel fulfilled and happy and not what makes other people, you know, happy. And that's just, I couldn't have gotten there without this team and the belief that they put into me and the voice that they have helped give me and all of the, you know, the personal development and the team stuff that we have done and just starting to help other people, you know, helping, you know, the clients that I have signed up, helping them realize and giving belief to them. If I'm believing in them, I have to believe in me too. You know, all of that, all of those things, you know, on a small level are small, but they add up to so much big stuff. And so, I guess that's where I am at. I'm, looking forward, like Corey said. And this community and this opportunity has taught me how to do that. And most importantly, though, has taught me that I am worthy of that. And if that is something that I can share to somebody else, that the fact that we are all, every single one of us worthy of looking forward and dreaming those big dreams, like that's my mission now. Not just to help somebody lose weight, but to help somebody find their worth and dream those big dreams. And on that note, I'm gonna pass it over to Caitlin.
God, you guys make it hard to like follow up. I mean, Jesus. Okay, so um, so we're here talking to you guys all about past and present visions tonight that we had when we first started as coaches and where we are now. And the reason we're doing this is we're doing it in hopes that it helps you to realize like how different life can be based on one decision. Because that's what it was like for us, the decision to become a coach. And and hey, this lifestyle may not be for you. It's not for everyone, and that's totally okay. I hope that regardless of where this call leads you tonight, that you're able to take something from this to apply to any aspect of your life, because I mean, we don't want you to leave empty-handed. This topic for me, and it's been a day, this topic for me is really dark because I am in the thick of things with so much of this right now. For me, back when I started coaching, my story is very much like Corey and Katie, where like the visions I had were pretty minimal. I was a brand new first time mom, loved my daughter. She is and was then my world. But I was suffocating in every other aspect of my life. I struggled with insane anxiety and depression. I had drank the Kool-Aid in that I knew when I was told that I just need to suck it up and figure it out and will myself out of it and fix myself and, just get over my shit, that was what I needed to do. So not only was I crippled with all of that, but then I had all this guilt and shame on top of it too. I am 5'2". I weighed in excess of 230 pounds. It was a staggering amount of weight on my frame. I was trapped. My quality of life was at an all-time low because of that. I felt immense loneliness in my life. I too was a stay-at-home mom. It was a very last-minute thing. Our daycare situation fell through. I walked away from a career that I loved, and like they like offered me like $10,000 in a raise to stay, and I walked away from that to be home with her. Which, if I had to do it all over again, I would do the same thing. I couldn't get that time back, and I'm grateful for it. But so much of the time it was her and I against the world during the day. And then I was the mom that I would put her to bed at night, and then I would go and sob in the shower. I had no emotional support. I was so fucking lonely. Like it was bad. My marriage was rocky well before we had gotten pregnant. I mean, shit, my marriage was rocky well before we got married, but I digress. I had zero self-esteem. I had insane insecurity issues. There wasn't much about me that I liked. In fact, I loathed almost every bit about me, from the way that I felt to the way that I looked. God forbid I catch a reflection of myself in a mirror. It was just a very, very dark and low time. So when I first became a coach, which I'm not going to talk about how or why that happened, being at that kind of point in my life. I mean, we're here to talk about vision tonight. That's a story for a different day. But again, my visions were simple. I wanted to lose weight. I was positive I was incapable of losing 5 pounds. I wanted some friends because I was so lonely physically and emotionally. I was very alienated in the situation I was in. I wanted to feel good about myself. I wanted to be a better role model for my daughter. Like when they get to that point where they start they're like looking at you and they're moving and they're making sounds, and like all of a sudden you have this epiphany, like, holy shit, this is going to be a tiny little human one day and not like a potato for their whole life. And like, it freaked me out because I was like, I am not who I need to be for this person. Like, what am I doing? I need to figure this out. So that was a big thing for me. And then the other really big thing, probably the biggest driving factor, which is toxic as hell coming out of my mouth to say it now, but I needed to fix myself. I needed to lose weight. I needed to be skinnier. I needed to be prettier. I needed to make money. I wasn't pulling my weight being home with her. I needed to do all of those things in order to fix my marriage. I was determined That was what it was going to be. And I also wanted to help people. Sure. I mean, as as health coaches, we help people, but I couldn't really grasp the concept of what that was about. Kind of like what Corey had said, like when I first started coaching, it was for me, 100% for me. That was at the end of 2018. If we fast forward a bit, my story is anything but linear because I dealt so much with mental health stuff. I dealt so much with mindset stuff. Which again, I totally didn't even introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caitlin Kamer. If you follow me at all, I am like mindset everything, because it's just what you teach what you know, I guess. Um, and I was that person that I would gain some confidence, or gain some momentum because again, I'm not going to go into details with the community. You've heard already, like this group of women is insane. There's something to be said when you get surrounded by people who do want to see you succeed, not just like in health or business, but just in life in general. So I would gain some confidence and then something would happen with life or my marriage or something, and it just was gone, evaporated, like it didn't even exist. Like I would be back at square one or I would have spiraled even darker down. And but I kept working on it because all of a sudden, like, yes, I still cried in the shower, but I also had like other people in my life for the first time that saw me, that were there for emotional support, that fucking got me. Like I can't tell you how many times that my coach Corey sat on the phone with me and just listened to me like vent or cry or just have a moment because like she was like the only person I really had to talk to, that I felt like I could talk to. And it will never be lost on me. It will never be lost on me. And so day by day I started to build, I just kept trying. And at some point it got to the point where when those walls would come up, when challenges would happen, I could hold on to a little bit of that confidence, could hold on to a little bit of the momentum. And I just kept going. And like day by day, I just started to believe in myself more. I was very much a person who just, I needed to be fixed. Like there was something wrong with me. There was always something wrong with me. I was in a relationship for 10 plus years knowing that there was something wrong with me. And the whole time I'm working on myself, I'm working on business. Like I'm building a team, I'm building a clientele, I'm realizing this intense passion for helping other people. I don't know how to explain to you the feeling that you get when you are a part of watching somebody take their life back or realize their worth again, or maybe for the first time. Like I haven't tried hard drugs. I feel like it's similar. It's got to be. Like the high, I can't explain it. I can't get enough of it. With my own journey, like I was making strides with my physical health, certainly with my mental health. I was building some of the closest friendships that I'd ever had with these women on this team. And I was again one of those that I didn't really have any girlfriends. I didn't really have super close friends. And now I have more close friends than I ever thought possible. So the visions, and I had so much doubt with those visions, but they started to kind of come to fruition. So they got bigger, the same thing that Corey and Katie were saying, like, it was like all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, this side hustle, like maybe I could turn this into a full-time job. Maybe I could stay home with my daughter, have flexibility to work whenever and wherever I want, travel more, have some more financial comfortability or freedom one day. Moving to Michigan was a big one for me because my family and friends were here. I was seeing and feeling for the first time all these possibilities for this just really fulfilling life that we could create. Like it was all the things. And then there was my marriage. Everything I was doing, which it's ironic in that everything I was doing initially was to fix my marriage. Everything that I was doing that was bettering every aspect of my life inside and out was to the detriment of my marriage. And that disconnect was such a hard, emotional, confusing pill for me to swallow. I just didn't know what to do. There's no words. There literally are no words for what that was like. And I did the only thing I knew what I could do, and that was just to keep moving forward, keep working on myself. Like I wasn't there yet, I wasn't making enough money with Beachbody yet. I hadn't lost enough weight yet. I had more to do with myself. I needed to figure my shit out. Like I wasn't, I just wasn't there yet. And I knew if I just kept working and working and working, that shift was going to happen. And I was going to be worth something again. And the shift did happen. it just wasn't the one that I was thinking or planning. Because you see, like, personal development and self-development and mindset is such a huge part of this. I promise you, if you decide at some point in time that you're going to jump in with us on this, be prepared. The metamorphosis is inevitable. It's unavoidable. You are going to become a more positive person. You are going to have more of an open mind. You are going to see the world in a different light. You are going to be able to acknowledge all of the bullshit that goes on, like in the world, in our country, all of this stuff. And there's going to be this circle of light that you get to be a part of that makes you so strong inside and out. So all of that's happening. And so much of my life I couldn't see because of emotional detachment and just all of this stuff. Like, I was too in it. And then all of a sudden it was like the lights came on and I was able to see like unresolved traumas that I had shoved deep down because they were, they were forgivable because there was I'm sorry the next day, like the picture frames I put over holes in the walls, the detachments, the disillusionments, the emotional abuse, realizing that like I carried so much guilt and shame over stuff that I thought was wrong with me. Like, I used to feel guilty about being sad that I didn't get like any kind of like connections or like I'm talking like hugs or stuff like that. Like, stuff that like sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth now, but that's just what it was. And I also started to realize all this energy that I was pouring into this, because I'm a very firm believer, energies are contagious. So I was pouring and pouring and pouring all this positive energy into our situation. I was fighting for all of this. And it was like when the lights came on, I realized like I'm the only one fucking doing this. I wouldn't have come to those realizations without Beachbody, I don't think, or at least not as quick as I did. And I had thought about divorce a few times in the past after things would get kind of bad, but like I always was jolted in place. Like, there was no way I could move forward. Marriage is very important to me. There was no way I was breaking up my marriage. I wasn't going to break up my family. I wasn't going to have my daughter in a divorced household. I was not strong enough to be able to do that. I couldn't ask for that. There's no fucking way I could do any of this stuff by myself. I can't move out. I can't do any of this. There were all of these roadblocks. But then like that shift that had happened, all of a sudden there was like no fear with the repercussions. Certainly they were there. They are there. I knew that I was going to have to make sacrifices. I knew that this was going to be the hardest decision of my entire life. And I knew that I was going to have to walk through the fire in order to create a better life for myself and for my daughter. And really for all of us. The whole situation was toxic. Everything was toxic about it. Like, somebody needed to do something, and that was going to be me. I was the only one that was going to step up and do it, and Beachbody and coaching was going to help me do that. And so today, like, this year's been crazy. I asked for the divorce. I got myself to a point. I decided in May of 2020 that I was going to ask for the divorce, and I asked for it in July of 2021. That's how long it took me to get there. And I'm now at a point where I'm sitting here talking to you in a house in Michigan, and I am going through the hardest time of my life. The last 6 to 8 months have been the hardest of my entire life, and it's been so stressful. And I don't know how I would have gotten through this without the emotional support of my girls being there. And despite all of it being so stressful, I have helped countless women with their health this year. I managed to promote myself in my business. I have lost a total of 100 plus pounds at this point. I am able to set boundaries for myself, for how people are going to treat me, for what I expect for people to treat me. I am aware of who I should be putting my energy into and who I shouldn't be. And like I am an entirely different person. Like, I am not the same person I used to be. And that's probably why I got a divorce, because that man married somebody that doesn't exist anymore. And he's not happy about it. I I literally, like, I exude a completely different energy. I vibrate on a different frequency. Like, it's all different. It's all different. And it's all because of coaching. Like coaching gave me the courage and the sense of self. And like I got to a point where it wasn't even so much that like, when I first started with all this, it was like there was something wrong with me. Like I didn't have any worth. Like I wasn't good enough. And then it got to the point where it was like, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. Like what's going on here? There's nothing wrong. And now it's like, I'm pretty fucking great. Like I have a lot to bring to the table. We all do. Like the complete 180 that has happened. And then like you talk about vision. I mean, shit. It's limitless at this point. Those tiny little visions at first, like I'm going to attempt to lose 5 pounds, or I'm going to attempt to sign a client, or whatever it may be. I'm going to attempt to help somebody. And so much doubt with that. And now I have such huge goals for myself. I have such huge goals for myself personally, for my family, for my daughter as I help her on her way. I have such enormous visions for the women on my team to help them create the life that they want. And there's no doubts because it's all completely and utterly possible. And the reason I know that is because I'm a woman sitting here living a life that a year and a half ago, I knew without a shadow of a doubt was completely and utterly impossible. And here I am. And, I think about like visions for the next like 1, 5, 10, 20 years. I mean, I'm in no hurry. Like this is all intentional living from here on out. But it's going to be so fucking good. And it's going to be with these women because they're all stuck with me for life and vice versa. And I just, you listening in on this call, like, yes, like this is certainly, an opportunity, in so many ways. But for me, the biggest takeaway from all this, the community, there's nothing else like it. And Beachbody's great. This specific community, there's nothing else like these women. There's no one that's going to have your back like these women. I would drop anything for these girls. And yeah, literally life-changing in every facet of the way that this whole world works. So that is all that I have. I don't know, Corey, if you want to wrap it up or want me to just do it. Okay. So grateful that you took time out of your day to listen in here because, it's not lost on us. Everybody's lives are crazy, the whole mom life, work life, all the things. So we so appreciate your time. If you do have any questions with any of this, please reach out to the person that invited you and they can answer any questions for you. And then of course, if you do decide at some point to move forward with that, it's not just that person that you get. I mean, you get all of us here. You also get so many more that you don't see. Like there's a whole another world out there that you don't even know about yet. That is pretty fucking awesome. So I hope you guys all have such an amazing night and we'll talk to you later.